Hey everybody, it's Tuesday. You'll notice that the background right now is a bit different than before. That would be because I moved my desk about 90 degrees. So instead of facing this wall right this way, it is facing this wall. So what was to my left is now in front of me. As you probably already know from watching Erin's video, this week we're going to talk about what we write now as opposed to what we used to write, and I guess read something that we're working on now. So today my Beanie Baby is Juno. He's adorable. He was also given to me by two good friends, and he's so cute and fuzzy! But he's going to be sitting with me. It's another Beanie Baby that won't really stay on my shoulder. So another one off screen. What I write is, I think I go more into fantasy, basically anything I think I can have sort of a supernatural or paranormal metaphor for what's in it. I hate to compare myself to something just because then I feel like I'm leeching off of what they do, but Joss Whedon prominently uses supernatural events, like in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, uses supernatural events as sort of metaphor for experiences of growing up, like in high school and in college, and then, you know, getting work and dealing with life and all that thing. A lot of the experiences, the supernatural experiences that the characters have, are sort of metaphorical for the experiences they're going through in their real lives. So I think I like the idea of having something as a metaphor for something else that is happening. I like to write fantasy, just stuff that's not really contemporary. I guess I'm not really cool with dealing with the real world, so I like to write things that are sort of contemporary but not in our world. Like I make up a new world that's kind of based on our world and doesn't necessarily have magic or anything, but it's, you know, it's realistic. So I guess like Erin, I like to create my own rules. I like to create my own rules and then tell a story through that. I think that's why I stick to stuff that's not really quite our world, that's sort of based on it, so it's okay if I get things wrong, since like, oh, I meant to do that, which I probably shouldn't admit. But right now I'm going to read you something. It's actually from the romance novel that I want to try and write, the one that I am trying to get through, Police Procedure and Investigation for Writers. It's a book. But I'm trying to get through this book so I can at least correctly portray police procedure. So, yeah, without further ado and further babbling, I'm going to go read my section now. Alright, so this is a writing sample from Crooked, which I think I'll actually keep the title of right now. I'm sorry if the camera shakes a little bit as I'm moving the page down. Here we go. Crooked. Danny slipped out of the bar's front door with a wave to the barkeep, Joseph, and stepped out on the dingy sidewalk lined with rent buildings, bars, and strip joints. Out of uniform, he was just another guy on downtown street. A smart man didn't drive his car down here, so Danny hailed a cab to get home. The roads were packed, even on as humdrum a night as Tuesday, the honk and grind of automobiles mixing with the shout and hoot of human voices. People moved up and down the sidewalks like salmon packed in a stream. Honks would sound as groups of sidewalk goers made a break across the street, skirting around moving cars and shouting at the ones that nearly hit them, the drivers of the cars leaning out the windows to curse back. It wasn't a humid night, but there was a thickness in the air, a swelling of human essence like the smoke in the bar. It drugged the streets of downtown into a frenzy. A yellow cab pulled away from the pack to stop alongside Danny, splashing puddle water on his shoes. He shook the water off and climbed in. 28 Riverman Ave, Danny began to tell his driver, but was cut off by the hard thump of a human being plowing into the opposite cab door. Danny startled at the sound, as did the cab driver. The handle clicked. The door swung open, and a dark mess of young man in heavy clothes clambered inside, laughing like a loon. "Woo!" the young man crowed, the phrase apt. Like a crow, he wore black everywhere, even on his lips and eyes, the corners of the latter wing-tipped with liner. It gave his ordinary face an exotic look. The cab driver, a skinny old lady with bright red hair and green nails, leaned over the back of her seat and glowered at the intruder. "Where to, sweetheart?" She wasn't smiling. "North corner of Spring Street," responded the black lips. The driver's frown deepened. "Can you pay?" she demanded. "Sure, Grams," the youth replied, and whipped a few crumpled bills from his jacket. Buckles rattled as he waved them. $6 worth'll get me there, yeah? He stuffed them into his pocket. The driver gave a grunt of satisfaction, wrenched a lever into gear, and stamped on the gas to lurch the cab back into the noisy flow of the street. Beside Danny, the youth rolled down the window and twisted in his seat, sticking his head out to yell gleefully back the way they had come. "Better luck next time, you fucking tit-suckers! Woo!" His wild howl ricocheted off steel and stone buildings, and the honking of cars followed his laughing visage back inside. Springs creaked under his weight as he thudded into his seat, his fingers digging through his jacket for a cigarette and a lighter. Danny stared pointedly out his own window, hearing the click of flame igniting and the eventual sigh of nicotine relief. Lights flashed through the smudged glass, the cab weaving in and out of traffic as effortlessly as a ballerina. The scent of cigarette smoke hit his nose. Craving peaked. And that is 5 pages of Crooked. I probably didn't have all of it on here because it's ridiculously long, but I guess if anybody wants to hear more of it, I could either post it somewhere or post the rest of the video somewhere. It's romance, and they're going to go have sex now, and I'm not going to read that to you yet, mostly because I'm not really sure about that. And I don't even know if I'll keep this, but we'll see. So anyway, that's Crooked. If I do get something published, that is kind of what I'm going for. That's all from me for this Tuesday. I hope you enjoyed this a little. Feedback is love. Yeah, but I guess I'll talk to you next week about, I don't even know about what. I think we're going to start on with, oh, here we go. How do you get your story inspirations? That should be interesting next week. I'll have to think about that.